Before we get started, support our work over at losingmymind.com. Check out Genocide, the latest song by Timcast Music. That's me. We are currently trending number 29 on YouTube. So watch the video, put it on your playlists, play it on repeat. If you really like the song, I think you'll enjoy the video. With your support, we will keep pushing back and winning the culture wars. Now, onto that segment. It was a long night, my friends, but Republicans are victorious, at least for now. The media has been reporting that a red mirage may occur. And in the coming week or weeks, the Republican gains will be diminished. Well, I don't see that happening, but maybe, I don't know. Right now, the current projection is that Republicans will control 224 seats in the House, securing control. Predictions from the New York Times is that it will be a 50-50 Senate, but it's looking like Georgia will go to a runoff. And Walker may actually win this one, giving Republicans 51 to 49. It really does feel reminiscent to 2018 or even 2020. And the big news, my man, Ron DeSantis, landslide 20-point victory. And that's it right there. Now, I must start this because I'm sure many of you have already seen the commentary. I am flabbergasted, my friends. I wake up excited to hear the news that we're going to actually, well, it's still a little early. Don't count all your chickens before they hatch. But even right now, with the current numbers in Congress, it's looking like the GOP will have the majority. The New York Times is projecting with these close races, it will actually shift even further. And there even is, despite the fact that in the map it's showing like Lauren Boebert may be losing. There's some projections that there may be late ballots being counted that are going to shift heavily Republican. That's normal. That's what happens. Early and mail-in voting favors Democrats. Then as the in-person votes come in, it starts skewing more and more Republican. But we'll see. Even if she loses, it's looking like 219 seats. So where I'm standing right now, it could still get worse, could still be bad. But the funny thing is, I'm seeing all of these conservatives lamenting the results. I'm seeing Matt Walsh. He's coming out and he's like, you know, look, DeSantis clearly has proven he's got a path forward. What's the case against DeSantis? There's a lot of people that are saying the GOP underperformed what's going on. And I'm seeing all these leftists being like, red wave, more like a red puddle and a red trickle. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I guess. But the results we got are exactly in line with projections a few weeks ago. And I want to remind all of you, what did I say? Do I have these tweets up? I tweeted this November 7th. If you keep claiming the GOP is guaranteed to win, you will be shocked tomorrow or next week. If you recognize Democrats aren't just rolling over and you go vote, you may be surprised still, but pleasantly. And then we have... I tweeted this in response to Hugh Hewitt. Hugh Hewitt pointed out that Democratic strategists were acknowledging that a loss of 20 seats would be a good night. And some were projecting the GOP could gain as many as 55. I said, Democrats may actually surprise the GOP. Don't count your chickens. Yo, I learned my lesson in 2018. A lot of what there were a lot of commentators a couple days ago saying that there were going to be secret Dobbs voters. Dobbs is the abortion ruling. There were a bunch of Republicans taking the abortion stance off their pages, and it seems like it did have a bigger impact than many of us thought. This is a good day. I'm sitting here like, look, Ron DeSantis wins by double digits. Kemp wins handily in Georgia. Abbott crushes Beto O'Rourke. Rubio absolutely landslides in Florida. What we're seeing is that Florida leadership, as we've already known, is proving they can be a path forward for people who believe in American values and reject socialism and wokeness. In his victory speech, Ron DeSantis said, Florida is where the woke goes to die. I'm looking at all of this and I'm like, here we go, baby. Donald Trump, he's done a lot of great things. I've never been the biggest fan of his, but I supported him, and I probably would support him again for a variety of reasons. But looking at Ron DeSantis, this has been the big question. He's a younger guy. He's got tact, but he's got a plan. So with what we're seeing now, these projections are in line with where we were only a few weeks ago. The funny thing that happens is that because the polling shifted late in the game, Everyone thought the Republicans were going to win by such a huge degree that they're acting like they lost. I'm like, how am I seeing these leftists celebrating that they lost? Like, okay, hold on. It's not called yet. I'm feeling great. You know, it's remarkable. I learned my lesson in 2018, right? That's why even though I'm seeing all of these 538 things and I'm like, I'm not playing that game. Democrats are going to do better than you think because it happened in 2018. Boy, was I wrong then. I'm looking at all these cultural issues. You and I, we're politicos. We're ahead of this. We see these things and regular people don't. But this is a positive trend, especially with Ron DeSantis. Donald Trump called him Ron DeSanctimonious. And I'm wondering if that may have actually helped. What a lot of people are suggesting right now is that Donald Trump's brand has just become toxic. If you look in Michigan, the state legislature just flipped Democrat for the first time in 40 years. And what people are saying is that the Stop the Steal stuff is just pissing people off. Now, I take a look at what's going on in Arizona. And I want to go through some of the early morning data with you. Went to bed around like 1 a.m. last night, wrapped the show up just after midnight. Yikes. I'm surprised I have the energy that I do. But it's looking like Katie Hobbs in Arizona may win, but Kari Lake's not counted out yet, not conceding, and it's very close, and it's looking exactly like what happened in the primary. So we will see. Look, Mastriano didn't win. We had Mastriano on Timcast IRL. He's running for governor in Pennsylvania, but he was down 14 points. I'm not surprised by a lot of these results. Right now, the chances of Democrats controlling the Senate is 66% according to the New York Times. It's going to be 50-50. Now, if Georgia goes to a runoff and libertarians break for Walker, then it will go 51-49 with Republicans in control. But Senate doesn't even really matter. What we really wanted from the Senate was majority so that we can get Rand Paul, for instance, heading up some of these committees, and then he could really go after Dr. Fauci. If that's not the case, it's still a major victory. Right now, according to the New York Times, the Republicans currently have 219 seats, won or favored. Colorado's third. Let me see if I can isolate Colorado's third for the New York Times. So right now, you've got 10 toss-ups. Even if the Democrats won every single toss-up, Republicans would have the majority. In Colorado's third, where Lauren Boebert is currently down by about 0.8%, it's not over yet. These leftists are all celebrating, and it ain't even been called. Okay, what's the total amount of votes that we have in so far? Let me jump back here. We've got 68% of the votes. 90% of the votes are in, but the New York Times is saying it is a 68% chance that Lauren Boebert wins. I'm not surprised there. Now, what if she loses? It's still 218, and then you got to say you got all these toss-ups. California 27, Oregon's 5th, California 22nd, and Colorado's 8th are all skewing Republican, not to mention that several of these other Democrat skewing districts are barely skewing Democrat. New Mexico's second with more than 95% in. It's only up 0.2 for the Democrat. So we will see. This is Gabe Vasquez and Yvette Harrell. Right now, let me jump down to the actual forecast. House forecast in detail. The projection from the New York Times is 224 seats. The chickens have not yet hatched, my friends. There's still a possibility Democrats retain control of the House, which would be nuts. It's entirely possible. But they're projecting an 83% chance of control for the Republicans. This is what we wanted. This is what we were hoping for. Investigation subpoenas. If the Republicans won 260 seats, if they won 56 seats in the Senate, sure, it would feel really good. And everyone had their fingers crossed, but they're still not getting anything done. There can be subpoenas, investigations. There can be testimony before Congress, but they're not going to pass bills without a veto-proof majority, which they're not going to get. This is everything that the Republicans were hoping for. So it's just crazy to me that there are people on Twitter acting like the apocalypse happened. I want to give a shout out to Buck Sex, and we'll read some of these tweets in this post-mortem. You lost trending. People who voted for John Fetterman are why reality and rationality no longer matters in politics. just party identity and raw power. I do not disagree with that. Absolutely. I don't disagree. John Fetterman, the projected winner with 94% reporting in Pennsylvania, giving a flip to the Democrats. We can see here, Republicans have lost a seat so far. It's still up. Georgia is leaning towards Warnock, but by 0.5%. So it's very, very close. Neither has broken 50%. It's likely going to go to a runoff. And then you've got 2% towards the Libertarian. It may break for Walker, especially if Republicans get out, turn out to vote. Now, I had someone super chat me yesterday, and they said, Tim, you said that if we got all my friends together, went out and voted, we'd win. And I'm like, you did. It's projected that the Republicans are going to win. Imagine if you didn't. I had someone super chat. They said, I got 5 of my friends and we all went out and voted and look at what's happening. And I'm like, yeah, the Republicans are winning. If we didn't muster up resistance and push back on this, did you think it was going to be easy? This is the crazy thing to me. I'll say it again, that the 538 projection started flipping. I was laughing. I'm like, they're suggesting a possibility that Republicans win 56 seats. Everybody heard such tremendous news at the very last minute that they are saddened to see they've won. Come on, guys. The Republicans getting control of the House means Speaker Pelosi no more. It means she likely retires. And then what are we going to see? Is she going to stay in Congress another 2 years, or is someone going to have to replace her? There are some disappointments. Time will still tell. We don't know for sure exactly what's going to happen. But it's looking good. It's looking real good. Right now, you should be saying it looks good. Now, let's point out a couple things here. We have the Reuters map pulled up. I want to show you the governor's race with Arizona. Only 68% of the votes are currently in. And Kari Lake is within 30,000 votes. Okay, so there is a massive portion of votes that have yet to come in. And just like with the primary, they're going to start skewing heavily Republican as time goes on. I am a huge Kari Lake fan. She's amazing. The border as an issue, she's got leadership. Ron DeSantis, the same. Take a look at Texas. Abbott wins handily. Georgia, Kemp wins handily. And in Florida, Ron DeSantis landslides with 20 points. It's amazing. What we see here, primarily with Florida, is that Ron DeSantis has a plan. He has policies. He's talked about core issues. There's real leadership. I'll say this. To all the Trump criticism, man, he's focused so heavily on 2016 and 2020. It is a drag, a big drag. Some people are suggesting that Trump was a drag. I'm not so convinced. You've got people saying Trump was a drag and they should have done better. You've got some people saying the only reason they did as well as they did because of Trump. And I'm like, yo, it's a mixed bag. It's a coin toss. In some places, Trump works. In some places, he doesn't. Right now in Arizona, let's pull this up for the governor's race. We got a lot of votes that need to come in. Only 68% of Maricopa is in so far. Kari Lake is down by just shy of 50,000 votes in Maricopa, and they are projecting. So I've heard some scuttlebutt coming from the campaign, from people within Arizona. The early vote, everything that came in favored Hobbs. And now that we're into the day of vote, just like with the primary, it's expected to start skewing towards Kari Lake, which would be absolutely fantastic. So we will see. We will see. Let's pull up some of these tweets here. Take a look at this. From Florida's Voice. Blue counties swing for Ron DeSantis in the 2020 election. Miami-Dade went Republican plus 11. Palm Beach plus 3. Osceola plus 7. Hillsborough up 9. Pinellas up 11. Ron DeSantis, the GOP in Florida, real leadership, was able to swing blue counties. This is the model moving forward for this country. And you've got a lot of these people saying Gen Z, they've shown it. They've proven when they come out. That's not it. I don't think that's it. Gen Z may have voted D plus 28. That's what we're seeing. But there's not as many of them voting. What really matters is how many people turn out to vote. And the question is, do we have good leadership? I got to tell you, my friends, I'll say it again. People don't like Trump. I like Trump for a lot of reasons. I've praised him as the best president of my lifetime. Boy, did the Young Turks, I think it was the Young Turks, maybe it was a Majority Report, they got mad about that. And I'm like, I didn't say he was, on a scale of -10 to +10. I didn't say he was +10, like the best we've ever seen, doing a great job. I said he's done good things. Sure, it's mostly bad in a lot of ways, but he's better than every other president we've had. Ron DeSantis may actually be an outright good president. He's got foreign policy experience. He was in the Navy. He served. He was a lawyer, and many people served. I think he was on the Armed Forces Committee. I could be wrong. I'm optimistic, man. I'm waking up today and I'm like, this is great. Here we go. Let's read some more. Sagar Enjeti says, many GOP commentators willing to say candidate quality Stop the Steal was a major drag, but none that I see admitting that abortion clearly was a massive drag on the party across the board. This is correct. That's why I brought this up just the other day. Secret Dobbs voters. They would likely not be polled. When the pollsters came out and said, to people like when they polled likely voters, they're not going to get new voters who are voting on the issue of abortion. That matters. But here's the important thing, Republicans, you still are likely to win. It's projected that you're going to win. Hoping that's the case. Still, we don't know. Things could change. If the red mirage narrative is true, then boy, is it going to get bad. I'll say that. But right now, it's looking fantastic. And even if Republicans can't pull out the win everyone was hoping for, we've got a great sign with Ron DeSantis' leadership. Matt Walsh says, DeSantis blew the competition away while much of the rest of the Republican Party underperformed. What exactly is the argument against DeSantis 2024? So one person said his view on DeSantis 2024 being a massive error. He says, let's remove Trump and whether he will run. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but he's basically saying it was an error. We'll get to that. We got another post here from Matt Walsh, tweet. The Republican Party outside of Florida has no message, no discipline, no leadership, no courage to confront the important issues head on. That's why they're losing to literally brain damaged candidates. We need a total overhaul. I agree. Cernovich said reliving 2020 was always going to be a costly mistake. Completely agree. That really bothered me about Trump. We talked about it on IRL. I'm like, he's doing these rallies where he's complaining about 2 years ago. My friends, you want to know why I really hate the fraud narrative and Stop the Steal? It's not a question of facts or investigations. It's not a question of what may or may not be. It's a question of, are you getting younger voters? Are you speaking to kitchen table issues? Are you telling hardworking Americans, we will fight for your children? We will fight for gas prices to go down. We will fight to stop inflation. You're not. It's annoying when that is what people are talking about. I'm like, guys, you are suppressing the vote when you do this. You look at these people who are voting and they don't care about these deep, esoteric Politico issues. They love it when Donald Trump comes out and rants about Stop the Steal stuff. Because for one, it convinces people your vote doesn't matter. Even right now, people are like, the fix is clearly in. And I'm like, you won. I don't get it. Donald Trump won in 2016. Well, that's because despite the cheating. And I'm like, come on, man. If you can win, you can win. Let me tell you what I think we see. What's going on in this country. What I see is there's ballot harvesting across the country. It's legal. We don't like it. We got to change the rules. They say that there's fraud and other nonsense happening in other places. I see videos popping up. Project Veritas catches electioneering and all that stuff. I'm like, yeah, dude, those things happen. But are they at the scale where you can't win? No. I'll tell you where your fight needs to be. Look at Mark Elias of, what is it, Democracy Docket or whatever his thing is. The Democrats are firing off crazy lawsuits on procedural grounds. They're expanding mail-in voting. This is how Democrats win. The argument, the steel man argument for Democrats is they're coming out and saying everyone should vote. That's true democracy. Well, we're constitutional Republicanists. Republicanists? I don't want to say Republican. We believe that people should choose to vote and that it should be representative democracy. Or that's probably not the way to put it, but that's kind of what it is, that your representatives go and they vote on issues for you. There's benefits to that, I think, better than direct democracy. So we don't want to see everyone just blindly voting, not knowing what they're voting for. We don't want low information voters. We want high information voters so we can have a better system. That's the difference. With universal mail-in voting, you get mom, and she walks into the kitchen with her 18, 19-year-old kids, and she goes, "Did you vote yet?" And they go, "I don't care, Mom." And they're like, "You fill out your ballots." And they're like, "I don't care. I'm playing Call of Duty, Mom," or Minecraft or whatever it is. Roblox. Is that what the kids are playing these days? Gen Z vote turnout happened because universal mail-in voting. Now, I'm not advocating that these people should not vote. I'm advocating that they should choose to vote of their own accord. And thus, it should be a thing where it's like, get up, go out, vote. Not sit there blindly and have someone vote for you. But let me tell you, Sunny Hostin, I think it was, on The View, talking about voter fraud, making it sound like she illegally voted for her son. That's the point. I have been saying this. It's remarkable to me, my friends, because I've been talking about this for a couple of years now. If you watch my content, you know I said it, that the parents walk up to their kids and they say, I want you to fill this out and vote Democrat. And the kid goes, I don't care, Ma. I don't want to. Who knows? And they're like, just fill it out. So what? And they go, fine. They fill it out. And then the mom brings it in for them. That's legal. That's a procedural change that guarantees low information voters exactly what Democrats need. You've also got stories like what Sunny Hostin was saying, which, yes, you could say is fraud. Doesn't matter if the ballots are fraudulent. I'm not arguing that. What I'm arguing is you need to win on procedural grounds. We need to do away with election month. We need to do away with universal mail-in voting. We're not in the pandemic anymore. Joe Biden says so, right? So people should have to get up and choose to go vote. It should be a holiday. That doesn't favor Republicans, but it doesn't matter. That's principle. Everyone should be allowed to take the day off to make sure they can go vote. There's long lines, and we don't want people being screwed with. Now, here's a big issue. In Arizona, one of the reasons it's looking really good for Hobbs is because Republicans don't vote by mail. They overwhelmingly vote in person. That wasn't true in Florida. In Miami-Dade, DeSantis actually won the early and mail-in votes. That's crazy. But in Arizona, we're waiting for votes to come in because Republicans all voted on the day of. Here's the problem. Day of, the voting machines fail. Day of, polling locations get shut down, which skews things towards Democrats. It shouldn't be that way. There needs to be some basic level of a basic requirement for interest in the election. I do not want people to vote who don't know and don't care. I don't care if it's Republican or Democrat. I think that the bare minimum should be you have to get up off your seat, walk down to a polling place, and vote. Universal mail-in voting opens the door to low-quality voters. Now, I don't mean that they shouldn't be allowed to vote. I am not denigrating anybody. I am not diminishing their worth or human rights. I'm saying if you don't want to vote, you shouldn't. But with universal mail-in voting and ballot harvesting, you're getting people who don't know and don't care to actually vote. One thing I'll point out, too. People mention Florida where they're like, that whistleblower talked about ballot harvesting. I'm like, okay, I get it. Ballot harvesting is legal in a lot of places. You need to understand that they are allowed to go to nursing homes and do this. You need to win the procedural grounds. This means local elections. This means you need to win your state legislature. It's not always about your governor, your House, or the Senate. Then you can say, we will ban this. And I think you should. But low information voters are a tremendous opportunity. And it's very hard for Republicans to win when they're targeting, middle-aged, moderate individuals. That's a sad reality. Low information votes get you those victories. So you need to make sure you vote local. You need to keep doing what you did. Right now, we'll see, my friends. We'll see exactly how things play out. I don't know. It's projected that Republicans are going to win, and that's what we were hoping for. Ron Coleman with the white pill, my friends. He says such pedestrian takes underselling tonight's results for the GOP. At no point in U.S. history has every single cultural institution, press, entertainment, academia, unions, public employees, the massive public employee sector, the professions, law enforcement, federal agencies, major corporations, Wall Street, nonprofits, mainline Protestant denominations, the military, I could go on, been so profoundly and explicitly aligned the way they have been behind the left in the last 5 years. There's nothing typical about the midterm elections. Moreover, the GOP is bringing legitimately interesting, exciting new blood into its coalitions, young leaders and voters. This includes many minority communities dismissed as automatic Democrat sectors for all time to come. Democrats, DeSantis, I'm telling you, man, DeSantis is showing us a path forward. 2024. I don't know if Trump is the right call, and I think the biggest challenge we face right now is that DeSantis has proven real leadership. A 20-point swing in Florida. He helped Rubio. If it is a civil war between Trump and DeSantis, it could be bad. I'm at the point where I'm going to tell you, man, look, I like Trump for a lot of reasons, but DeSantis seems to be the guy. And I've been going back and forth on this. But Trump he won't let go of 2020. We need a path forward. There are going to be young voters entering the voting pool, 18, 20, 22-year-olds come 2024, first-time voters, and they don't know anything about 2020. Someone today who's 16 years old, who is going to be voting in 2024 is going to be like, dude, I was a little kid. Okay, I was, what is that? They were 14 when that happened. Do you think they know anything about 2020's election? No. So if you go to them and say, listen, in 2020 it was deeply unfair, they're going to be like, I don't even know what he's talking about. We had Vaush, the socialist, on the show, and he was like, I'd vote for Biden. And I'm like, he's a warmonger. And he goes, well, I was a little kid. I don't know anything about that. Vaush was a teenager when Joe Biden was warmongering with Obama. He didn't know anything about this. DeSantis. He's younger, more tactful. That's the opportunity. Ron Coleman says, now that the GOP isn't stuck with some odd and stale figures, but the Democrats have no bench, no future, and no one. And their party message is and will remain rooted in resentment, nihilism, division, and contempt for most Americans, their values and their intelligence. And then you tell me it was only Florida. I mean, if you don't understand or want to accept what Florida means, the Latino vote, the economic growth, the low taxes, the nature of leadership that transformed the political landscape, I can't help you. Not at all this hour. Not to mention what DeSantis did was he cleaned up the voter rolls in the system in Florida. Everything we've seen from DeSantis out of Florida is a path towards victory. And it should be a symbol to the rest of this country and the GOP what you need to do. The Democrats got no A-listers. They got no new blood. They got no spirit. What they have is resentment and fear. The Republican Party nationally has terrible garbage leadership. We've always known that. But Ron DeSantis is showing us a path forward. So we will see, my friends. The people who are die hard on Trump, you've got to get over it. I get it. Donald Trump represents a lot, and he gained a ton of votes in 2020, 74 million. Was it 74 or 72? 72 million? I think it was 74, around there. But there are a lot of people voting against Democrats when it comes to Donald Trump. When it came to Hillary Clinton and Trump, voter turnout was actually really bad. And Trump only won by 77,000 votes across 3 states. I think what we're seeing right now, it's good news. I'll just say it one more time before I wrap up. Red wave, no. But we are looking at projections that everyone expected to happen. A month ago, we are exactly where everyone thought it was going to be. That the chances that they take the Senate, according to 538, was less than 50-50. Democrats actually were favored to hold on to the Senate. We still have an opportunity in the Georgia runoff that Walker could win. Not that I'm a big fan of the guy. I don't think he's all with it. I don't know how I feel about that, right? Fetterman's not all with it, but they're just like, who cares? He can say yay, right? He can say aye or nay or yay or nay. Okay, fine. If those are the rules you want to play by, whatever. Walker it is. All we hoped for was the Republicans would take the House and we would get some investigation, some inquiries, and potential impeachment. I don't think we're going to get everything we want because the Republican Party just doesn't have it. But this is a step in the right direction. This is what we saw in 2018. So be it. That's a good day, man. I'm going to cook me up some bacon and eggs, enjoy my breakfast, and I'm going to sit back and see how things turn out. Right now, let's just take a look at the New York Times forecast. They're saying with 90% of the votes in, Lauren Boebert is projected to win. They're saying it's going to be 0.7. Are they wrong? I don't know. But even if she does lose, it's going to be 218 Republicans. And then you've got all these other toss-ups. It's looking good. Maybe it'll change. I don't know. Let's see where it goes. But for the time being, take the wins, dude. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you all then.